let us be together. So are there any announcements? Okay, if no one has any announcement, I'll just want to say that I've gotten some very lovely thank you cards. They are from Community Foundation, Habitat for Humanity, VIP. And while I'm saying this, they would be happy to come and give us a workshop or tell us what they've been doing in the community. The Grand Circle Foundation, Ecumenical Food Pantry, the library, the Honesdale Library, and Doctors Without Borders so far have all sent us thank yous, and it is very well received, and they're very, very, very appreciative. So that is that. I am now going to light the chalice, and everybody see it? Okay. In igniting this chalice, we cast upon it our hopes and intentions for all that is positive in our minds and in our hearts. May this precious light shine on. And if anyone, it's time for joys and concerns. Anybody has any anything they would like to say, it's now time to come forward and light your chalice and tell us about them.
Steve has his hand up.
Okay, Steve.
Right.
Everybody,
Yeah.
so thank you.
Yeah, just a musician that I knew not very personally, but I did meet him twice on various occasions. His name is Neil Kirby McMillans Jr., but he was better known by his stage name, if you can believe this, Mojo Nixon. He was a how do I say this? What was referred to as shockabilly music. It was a mixture of country, folk, and punk rock with blues influences. And one of a song that he had written and recorded with a blues musician, Skid Roper, was entitled "Elvis is Everywhere." So I guess probably sums up the kind of raucousness that his music had. In fact, I attended one concert of his where it was one of his rare solo acoustic concerts, and the audience was so raucous that a chicken fight broke out. So it was he will be missed, and I think his music will inspire others. Yeah.
Anyone else?
I'll just share again for those who didn't hear earlier that Jill's daughter-in-law, Shireen, is about to give birth. So
Yay.
joys
Yay.
and concerns, both.
All right.
That's terrific. Oh, great.
I'm going to light a candle for the family of Alexei Navalny. That situation over there is so horrendous. And he gave, I mean, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what they had gone through all this time. And he made this choice to come back to Russia, knowing that he would be imprisoned. And now this, and now this. So for his family and for all the people who have high hopes for Russia and what they would hope could happen, I hope they make it happen. I hope he sent out a message that says we can't have this continue. So I don't know what to say. It's just really sad. Really, 40-some years old. It's just really sad.
I'm not sure that I can how to participate, but
You're doing it.
there are over 12,000 children that have now been slaughtered in Gaza, and we've been having vigils every Friday, every Saturday, at sundown for them. So a candle perhaps for the 12,000 children, along with the 28,000 civilians that have been killed.
wanted to just share a prayer from my father. I'm here in Vermont. I try to get up here every 6 weeks or so. He's 93 years old and, failing a bit. But yesterday we made Taroni, and I always come here and do a lot of cooking with him. So.
Very nice. Anyone else have any joys or concerns? All right, well, then we will say that we will keep our handles lit for all of the unspoken joys and concerns that are in our hearts. So it turns out that we have selected, hi Jen, hi Bill. We have selected shared readings for today. So it's time for anyone who has something to share to let me know, and let me know. And if I don't see it, please chime in and tell me that I haven't seen it. It looks like Jan, are you ready with the reading?
Sure.
Okay.
Hang on a second. 18-year-old Nadine Mutaja is a member of the Gaza Poets Society, and during a recent Israeli assault on Gaza, she wrote, "There on the other side, time changes, hours pass, and it gets darker. The sky takes off its dim dress, then the morning arrives. But here where I live and breathe, life wears its black dress constantly. To mourn the labor of my land, which took a long time. Here the hanging clock in my room is broken. Not only this one, everyone's clock is broken here, my mother keeps saying. Everyone is waiting for the elixir. We've had it with grief and agony. In this holy land, we sleep and wake up on the sound of bombing and shooting. So the first light of day rises in the evening, lighting up the sky with the blood of martyrs. Here death sleeps not far from us. We all walk towards freedom, towards hope. We walk on the shattered glass of our broken windows. We walk on stones that were once a house, carrying stories and secrets. We walk with the screams of children and the groans of mothers pulsating over and over in our ears, even when the flames of war are blazing. Nadine was a dental student in her first year at Al-Azhar University in Gaza, which Israeli bombs flattened at the end of last year, as they have with every university and school in Gaza. We don't know if Nadine is still alive.
Thank you, Jan. Does anyone else have something to share? Tom, do you want to share your?
Sure.
Tom's here. He's gonna come sit where I am, and he can either that. You want to stay where you are, and I can just move it to Timmy's.
And Pat also had her hand up.
I'm sorry, Pat. You'll be next.
Well, I better let
No,
them-
you're on already, Tom. Why don't you just read?
Oh, okay. Well, this is, I guess, a poem, and it's called "My First Bicycle."
Tell me your poem.
My wife says to tell you that this is my poem.
Yeah.
Thank you, wife. My first bicycle had a broken headset. I could lift the handlebars clear out as I pedaled and hold them like antlers above my head. I'm lying on my back on the carpet. My eyes are closed. I'm doing what I do best, listening to the sounds of my family as they move about their one-room cabin at the edge of the woods. Phil is scratching like a cat in his Lego box. He's Spider-Man these days and is probably building a Spideopolis he'll web up later with cars. Pete is at the computer, designing showrooms for Mont Blanc or Cartier or Lanvin. If it weren't for the rain, he'd be outside, an internal combustion engine of some sort throbbing in his hands. And in the corner where the light is best, where the long table sits, I hear the whoops and sobs of the ladies' tripartite, generational, jigsaw, puzzle fest, mother, daughter, grandmother, an impossibly devilish puzzle of a puppy in a teacup. They must be stuck. They've been at it so long, they've given some of the pieces names. I never was a puzzler. Perhaps such visioning is a womanly thing, a sport for witches or sorceresses. I was a builder of model planes and trains, and ships and cars. A collector too, matchbooks, butterflies, Indian head pennies, stamps, bars of hotel soap, marbles, pop bottle caps, pep pins. I sent away for the beanie hat, baseball cards. I hated the gum. The otiose pelf of a barefoot youth spent wearing holes in my jeans. My mother never did a puzzle. I never saw my father lying on the floor. There were only the three of us and never a cabin in the woods. Things happened to us in a car. The day the bee flew in the window, for instance, and my father's cigarette fell into the crotch of his pants. The car veering to the side of the road, his open door, my mother and I laughing at my father's strange hopping dance, the wind in his hair. I once made a large corrugated box into a theater and performed for them magic and puppet shows. This was supposed to be the year of the 17-year cicada. 17, not a Fibonacci number, but a prime just the same. Evidently, evolution chose this odd time cycle for them, so those looking to eat cicadas might choose something else for dinner. Unpredictability, a defense. In Kansas, our cicadas came every year, a different breed probably. The trunk of our catalpa thick with them, delicately green and shiny wet before they flew away from their split out shells and sing. They did sing so loudly, they competed with the starlings that flocked each night to the courthouse square. Summer evenings were noisy in Girard, Kansas, but this year in Pennsylvania, the cicadas brought us nothing but silence, and I was hungry to hear them. It slips by so easily. The collecting of cicada shells from the bark of a catalpa, my first bicycle, the magic shows I performed for my father and mother, laughter and words fitted into the completion of a puzzle, my stepdaughter's family, this good cabin. Someday I will enter these woods, leave my split out shell, complete my cycle. My son and daughter live far away, Ranulph, Caleb. We give our children names, so in our sea of solitude, they'll swim back to us, and families will flow again like water.
Thank you, Tom. That's from Tom's poetry book that he actually did with two other people from his hometown that he acquainted with at his 50th high school reunion. And they wrote a book, the three of them, and they all lived on Osage Street. So it's called The Three from Osage Street. And he began writing at the what is it called? The Upper Delaware Poets Collective. So he was very busy when he lived up in your neck of the woods up there. Who else would like to read? Pat, you had something?
Okay. Mine is not on any of the topics suggested. It's more nature-y. But it's something I've been doing just about every morning as I have my morning coffee and I'm looking out the window at the day dawning. And I've been reading excerpts from John Weir's book, My Summer in the High Sierra. And I knew a lot about John Weir and that he, was such a conservationist and was co-founder of the Sierra Club and everything. But I never really read his writings, and I didn't expect them to be so inspirational and spiritual and just totally, totally in love with nature and everything he's seeing. So every morning it's just like this big smile and big amazing thing. And I don't even read that much every day. It doesn't take much. Anyway, it was June 1st of 1869, and he started out with a man that he knew was taking a huge herd of sheep with a couple shepherds up into the Sierra for the summer, where they would feed in the fields and stuff. They fortunately no longer do that because they're rather destructive. But anyway, he accompanied just to have some minor duties, but mostly he wanted to study the flowers and trees and draw pictures and just have the experience. And he was about 33 years old at the time. And I must say, extremely energetic. He's constantly running up mountains and down, and it's pretty impressive. Anyway, I'll just read one excerpt to give you an idea and of just his glowing prose for every day. This was on July 20th. Fine, calm morning, air tense and clear, not the slightest breeze astir. Everything shining, the rocks with wet crystals, the plants with dew, each receiving its portion of iris dewdrops and sunshine, like living creatures getting their breakfast, their dew manna coming down from the starry sky like swarms of smaller stars. How wondrous fine are the particles in showers of dew, thousands required for a single drop, growing in the dark as silently as the grass. What pains are taken to keep this wilderness in health? Showers of snow, showers of rain, showers of dew, floods of light, floods of invisible vapor, clouds, winds, all sorts of weather, interaction of plant on plant, animal on animal, etc., beyond thought. How fine nature's methods, how deeply with beauty is beauty overlaid. The ground covered with crystals, the crystals with mosses and lichens and low-spreading grasses and flowers. These with larger plants, leaf over leaf, with ever-changing color and form. The broad palms of the firs outspread over these. The azure dome over all, like a bellflower, and star above star. Yonder stands the South Dome, its crown high above our camp, though its base is 4,000 feet below us. A most noble rock, it seems full of thought, clothed with living light, no sense of dead stone about it, all spiritualized, neither heavy looking nor light, steadfast in serene strength like a god. And that is just a short excerpt.
Thanks, Pat.
You're welcome.
Would like to share something with us? If I'm not seeing everybody, can somebody tell me that they see somebody else? Okay.
I have something.
Okay. Okay.
This is the author of this is another member of the Upper Delaware Writers Collective. I'm my friend Tracy Ramsey. I'm sure some of you know.
Yeah.
You can't see it because it's blurred, but it's the book is called Storm Farmer. Collected poems. Cushatunk Falls. We never tire of the murmuring water, the soft rumbling roar of Skinner's Falls, or long days on the rounding shore, all the rocks and sand and Delaware River. Languid in the simple summer sun, we wrap the hours in ripe cherries as conversations drop on the wind. Our laughter stretches out behind us, rides over the tumbling waters. We stay past the sun, setting beyond the bridge, past dusk, until our chatter stills like birds. So we hear those who came before, a very long time ago. Their voices seem to sigh over the rocks, rush beneath the eagle's evening flight. A faint murmur of remembered people, telling of their lives along this sage river. Their watery call holds us to the balance, lifts off unending songs of current song, lifts off unending songs of current songs of us as nature, wild as Lenny Lenape, steady as the soft whisper of Cushatunk Falls.
Thanks, Tom. Beverly's got something?
Yes, I do. How did you know that?
I see you.
Yes,
Okay.
this is not that uplifting a poem, but it's from one of my favorite poets, is Mary Oliver, and it's the title of it is about the longest title for any poem I've ever seen, and the title is "What was once the largest shopping center in northern Ohio was built where there had been a pond I used to visit every summer afternoon." Loving the earth, seeing what has been done to it, I grow sharp, I grow cold. Where will the trilliums go and the coltsfoot? Where will the pond lilies go to continue living their simple, penniless lives, lifting their faces of gold? Impossible to believe we need so much as the world wants us to buy. I have more clothes, lamps, dishes, paper clips than I could possibly use before I die. Oh, I would like to live in an empty house with vines for walls and a carpet of grass. No planks, no plastic, no fiberglass. And I suppose sometime I will. Old and cold, I will lie apart from all this buying and selling, with only the beautiful earth in my heart.
Very nice. Thanks. Really, that's great. Thank you. Okay, who else has something to share? If I don't see, I have something. I have to tell you, it's a little lengthy, but I selected it because it kind of touched on two separate things. One is, I guess, Black history, and one is having to do with peace. So it's 5 minutes, so you'll have to grin and bear it. I think we have enough time. December 10th, 1964, Martin Luther King Jr. accepted the Nobel Prize for Peace. This is excerpts because it's much longer than this. This is best I could do. Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I accept the Nobel Prize for Peace at a moment when 22 million Negroes of the United States of America are engaged in a creative battle to end the long night of racial injustice. I accept this award on behalf of a civil rights movement which is moving with determination and a majestic scorn for risk and danger to establish a reign of freedom and a rule of justice. I am mindful that only yesterday in Birmingham, Alabama, our children crying out for brotherhood were answered with fire hoses, snarling dogs, and even death. I am mindful that only yesterday in Philadelphia, Mississippi, young people seeking to secure the right to vote were brutalized and murdered. And only yesterday, more than 40 houses of worship in the state of Mississippi alone were bombed or burned because they offered a sanctuary to those who would not accept segregation. I am mindful that debilitating and grinding poverty afflicts my people and chains them to the lowest rung of the economic ladder. Therefore, I must ask why this prize is awarded to a movement which is beleaguered and committed to unrelenting struggle to a movement which has not won the very peace and brotherhood, which is the essence of the Nobel Prize. After contemplation, I conclude that this award, which I receive on behalf of that movement, is a profound recognition that nonviolence is the answer to the crucial political and moral question of our time. The need for man to overcome oppression and violence without resorting to violence and oppression. Civilization and violence are antithetical concepts. Negroes of the United States, following the people of India, have demonstrated that nonviolence is not sterile passivity, but a powerful moral force which makes for social transformation. Sooner or later, all the people of the world will have to discover a way to live together in peace and therefore transform this pending cosmic elegy into a creative psalm of brotherhood. If this is to be achieved, man must evolve for all human conflict a method which rejects revenge, aggression, and retaliation. The foundation of such a method is love. I refuse to accept the cynical notion that nation after nation must spiral down a militaristic stairway into the hell of thermonuclear destruction. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. This is why right, temporarily defeated, is stronger than evil, triumphant. I accept this award today with an abiding faith in America and an audacious faith in the future of mankind. I refuse to accept this. I refuse to accept despair as the final response to the ambiguities of history. This faith can give us courage to face the uncertainties of the future. It will give our tired feet new strength as we continue our forward stride toward the city of freedom. When our days become dreary with low hovering clouds and our nights become darker than 1,000 midnights, we will know that we are living in the creative turmoil of a genuine civilization struggling to be born. Today, I come to Oslo as a trustee, inspired and with renewed dedication to humanity. I accept this prize on behalf of all men who love peace and brotherhood. I say I come as a trustee, for in the depths of my heart, I am aware that this prize is much more than an honor to me personally. I think Alfred Nobel would know what I mean when I say that I accept this award in the spirit of a curator of some precious heirloom, which he holds in trust for its true owners, all those to whom beauty is truth and truth beauty, and in whose eyes the beauty of genuine brotherhood and peace is more precious than diamonds or silver or gold. So I chose this because it kind of encapsulates love and peace and Black history and our history and hopefulness. I just want to say last night we watched a film about Bayard Rustin, which I knew very little about and which the filmmakers knew very little about. And he was the engineer for the Civil Rights March to Washington in August of 1963. And 1 year later, he could not be the face. He could not be the face of this march because he was homosexual, and he was also fighting for that right as well. And so Martin Luther King, who he was on the outs with for some time, they got together again, and that is how the march got together. And I think it took. He was amazing. He was an amazing organizer. It took him like 7 weeks to make that march, and there was 100,000 people who showed up in DC. So,
246.
Oh, in the end, it was 246,000 people, the largest presence to that date in DC. So if anyone hasn't seen it, it's a very enlightening film, and it's called Rustin. And you can
Netflix.
Yeah. I don't know if you want any comments about this.
Yeah, I think if no one else has anything else, if no one has anything else to read or share, I think it's time for comments. Yeah.
No, I wanted to comment about Bayard Rustin.
Mhm.
because I knew him and we worked side by side at the same
right.
office. So it's a funny thing when you get old enough, you can even correct some history. So that's so there's some things that just were not, I didn't feel was covered and was quite different. I mean, Bayard was an incredibly courageous man because he was a conscientious objector during World War II and gay. So he went through tremendous things, but he was much more radical than Dr. King. He was really connected with A. Philip Randolph, and Dr. King was really the conservative in this, and he was convinced to have this. And of course, you know, Bayard and A.J. Musty and Dave Dellinger, many of the wonderful characters that you don't even know about, but they were really crucial in that, and particularly the young radicals which was SNCC, which is what John Lewis came out of, and there was a big difference between what John Lewis wanted to say, which was now he wanted to make it more radical, and King didn't want to. In fact, John went out. So anyway, there's a lot of little history behind the scenes.
So that's why Martin Luther King's was the face of the march more than anyone else, because Bayard Rustin couldn't be. He had some history and some things with the police, and
No, they were different
because of his
roles.
homosexuality. It was but he was. I mean, if you watch the movie,
he would not have been the face of it anyway. They had different roles. I mean, Bayard was an organizer.
Well, he was.
And
the engine that made
King was
it
a preacher.
Yeah.
King was a preacher. Bayard was an organizer. Two different roles.
But I'm saying he was the one that made it happen. It was not even. I don't think it was even Martin Luther King's idea. It was his idea. So it's quite interesting. If you want to watch the film, it'll fill you in. And I hope.
No, I did watch. I watched it.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else like to say anything about our wonderful shared readings? I thank you all so much. It's been just great to have all you here. It's a wonderful feeling to be together, even if we're on Zoom. It may be even better sometimes. I can really see your face. I'm facing you.
Okay. And you know what? We can figure out who's who by the names.
I know. But
Yes.
I don't have names on them for some reason. But
By the time we meet in person, we're going to know who we are.
I'm glad I remembered somebody's name.
Yeah, like unfortunately, I have difficulty remembering people's names. I don't know why. Kind of reminds me of yeah, I guess so. No. Even when I was a kid, I had the same problem. I don't know what it is.
I really appreciate. Sorry,
I added Beverly's name because her name is not iPad. Want anybody to be confused?
It was very nice to be with you all. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it every week, but I certainly wanted to join in. I'm particularly interested. I think that Lori mentioned the Holocaust survivor that was going to be present in one of these, and I'm particularly interested. Yeah, I'm particularly interested. I'd love to see a Holocaust survivor and a Palestinian tell their stories.
Ooh.
Dorothea is 95. She's doing it on March 10th.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I know that. That's
yeah.
what grabbed me. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
So I'll be looking forward to hearing about her story. Yeah, it's the stories that tell it all, doesn't it? Yeah,
Stories.
Yeah. So.
Anyone else?
I love the Mary Oliver poem. That was great.
I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you got it.
Sharon, I want to thank you for moderating the shared readings today.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Sharon.
Okay, so if no one else has anything else to say or offer, we will extinguish our flame. Let us remember that we are not alone until we light this flame next time. And the closing words that I've selected are from one of our past members who we're hoping will join us again very soon. I know he doesn't like Zoom, but he'll have no excuses when we go back into in-person meetings. And this is by Arthur Bjornson, and he calls this the UUDUUF benediction. As you leave this place, take the spirit of the fellowship with you Embrace your friends and welcome the strangers. Do your best to love your neighbor as well as yourself. Strive to be good stewards of the resources that have been loaned to you. Remember, the earth is a treasure and should be honored and respected. Be prepared to face reality as it presents itself to you. You will have victories and failures, so bring them to this fellowship when we meet again, and we will revel in the former and support you in the latter. Until we gather again, go in peace. Okay, guys. Yeah, Joan.
Okay, I was asked by Heidi yesterday to kind of give an update report on what I was charged to do from the committee that we met 4 weeks ago. I'm about two-thirds through the list of people that have attended the services in one way or the other, and I've gotten some responses back. And so if you just bear with me for a few minutes, I can give you a very quick update, because I will be putting it in writing. But some interesting things have come out, and certainly things that we need to feed into as we move forward into every week and online and also in person. So if anybody has any problems with staying a few more minutes, I'll understand. But she thought it would be best if I shared it with the group. So I've been busy. As you know, I have a time difference out here, so people getting back to me has been not difficult, but you know, trying to go around times. I do try to do it right before mealtime, your time in the East. And I understand you've had some bad weather, so that's helped me out to connect with some people. But anyway, I just want to give you a, my script was very simple. I just, when I called everyone, I introduced myself as a current member of the UDUUF. And I said we were going through the list of members and past visitors who had attended the UDUUF, and I explained that we were refreshing and reorganizing the group and would like to have their input. And believe me, I had long conversations. Some were up to an hour. It's amazing how engaged they are. And that was a big surprise. People who hadn't really been involved in a physical way still had you on your mind. So I thought that was a positive, and is a positive. So I asked 3 basic questions, and I just said to them, if you can't get back to me now, I know it's a lot. And some said, can I defer and wait till I have more to say? And they called me back and gave me answers. So the 3 questions were very simply, and it was discussed in the group. What did we lack or not offer that kept you from continuing to be engaged in the group? And to that question, I have a variety of answers, but none of them negative. Most of them had to do with time frame, situations, family situations where they were, otherwise involved. But also with a promise of, I think I'm going to look into this again. We'll see what happens, but that's what they've said. And then the second question was, what can we offer that appeals to you? Do you have any ideas about programs? Would you be interested in attending? And with that, I got a variety of answers. One person who I just talked to recently said, are you able to record the services so I can see them other than on Sunday? Because Sunday isn't, in real time when she would be with the group, is not when it's convenient for me, or whatever, the other reasons were. Other people felt that they wanted to have various things that, appealed to them. Some wanted nature things, some wanted political things. And, I'll put that in a compilation when I get the, my scripts all done, and I've completed the list. So as I said, 2/3, I'm done. And then the last question I asked them was, do you prefer online services or in person, or both? And that probably was the biggest surprise of all. For most of the people that I contacted, they wanted a hybrid. They didn't want to necessarily be in person all the time. No one said that they objected to every week, but that's kind of what I got in between the lines when they said, well, there are times when I just can't get out of the house for whatever reason. Some have issues where they have, they're stuck by someone in the house that they have to take care of, and there are other reasons why they felt that they would be online. So there's a strong, feeling of that this online business is would say. Now, that being said, I know there were some people in the group, Art is one of them, who absolutely, and I didn't call him, by the way, I was told not to, that doesn't want to be online. He just wants to be in person, and that's fine. But of the people I called, I was surprised of the amount of people who said that they would, you know, a hybrid would work for them. In other words, having the option. So some weeks, for whatever reason, some people said weather, but not most people just said sometimes it's just easier for me to be, you know, at home doing it. For some, it was distance. There was a woman that lives in Wayne County. It's a good 45 minutes. She said Beach Lake was far enough. Narrowsburg to her seems farther. So she would probably want to, you know, be online. So that's my update. And I hope by the end of this week, everyone will have called me back. I will have completed that list, and then I will do a formal, you know, written report. And I guess I don't know who it goes to, but I'm going to give it to Heidi for right now, because she and I have been in contact. I have to thank several people, one of them you, Sharon, for giving me a list of people when I asked you to come up with some names, because they were very productive things. I also, of course, went from the membership list, but if there's anyone else today that can think of someone that they think should be called, who they, you know, you don't know has come and you feel would be, it'd be beneficial to give them a call, you know, please contact me. And I think most of you have my contact. If not my number, you have my email. I'm on the mailing list, so that's all available. So just so that we can get the biggest sweep, I think, of people that we know to try to get engaged again.
Thank you for making those calls. When you write that report up, would you please include their contact information, including their email, so I can
Yes.
ensure that they're getting Zoom invites at least?
I'd be glad to do that. Sure. Emails here.
Thank you. I just want to tell everybody that's on the service committee, I can't be there this Wednesday. I have a conflicting meeting outside the house, so I'm sorry, but I hope somebody will fill me in. And also, when I was speaking with Jen, I got the idea that if people can't come and they want to try to interest other people, we spoke about the idea of maybe inviting someone to your home while you're doing the hybrid service. Make a cup of coffee and make a donut or something, whatever, bring a donut in. And that is a good way of exposing people to the fellowship that might, you know, make them interested in becoming members, or at least being good friends. And we have more people, you know, involved with what we're doing. So I think that was so helpful, Joan. That was marvelous. Thank you so much for doing that. That's going to be really useful.
Right. And one more thing, I did pitch that to several people who seemed interested.
I
said,
love that idea.
alone on Sunday morning, it can be a little isolating, even though we're online and we're feeling that. I have Bill next to me, so I feel like there's somebody else in the room. And I don't know whether they'll follow up, but some said, you know, that's a good idea. So I try to include as much as I could to get people engaged. And I asked them if they wanted to give any feedback. I used myself as a reference because I had called them. And I said, I'm the the person who's doing this particular job. There are other people that you can certainly go to. But if you feel comfortable calling me back. And several said, yeah, I haven't thought about everything, but I'd like to come back. And one woman came back twice. And the conversation was almost an hour. So it was really very delightful. I was very pleased that and by the way, everyone was polite to me. As soon as I introduced myself, it was like they knew me, even though some people say, I think I saw you when we were in person, but I'm not sure who you are. So so that tells me something.
That's great. So when we get the names of the people, maybe other people, maybe we can add more names, because we don't really know who you've actually contacted, and other people may know names that I've long forgotten or never known, or have contact numbers that I couldn't give you. So thank you so much. That's marvelous. Thanks an awful lot. That's just great information. So I guess, okay. So we're going to close down now, because I don't know how to close this down. I think Tom is in charge. You take over, Tom.
Oh, one more thing. When do we officially go in person? When do you start meeting at the fellowship? Because that's what people have been asking, and I haven't been able to give them an answer.
March 10th
March 10th.
with Dorothea.
Is that right?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Didn't know that.
And
Okay.
again, Tom, when you get the email, then that could be something you could add into it. That March 10th is the date for in person.
Yes, that will be in there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good.
Sounds wonderful. Okay.
Thank you, Sharon.
Buddy,
Thanks for
Bye.
Okay.
good weather
Okay.
for you.
Uh,
everybody. Yeah.
Okay, Jan, I'll see you at